Hello, guys. This is Israel. This is your host, Israel Trujillo, and thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for joining us, and I would appreciate if you guys give us a like, a subscribe, and if you want a comment answered in the Q&A at the end, leave your comment. And today, we're going to be talking about the ontology and the teleology of gender, pretty much refuting the non-binary ideology of the LGBT community. Pretty much, I'll be defending the biblical binary position that gender is correlated to sex. So yeah, stick with us. I think you guys will like it. But yeah, let's dig into it. So as progressivism spreads in Western countries, we observed previously taboo agendas arise to challenge Judeo-Christian values in previously obvious beliefs, such as gender being correlated to sex, marriage being long-term or till death do us apart, pretty much monogamous relationships. But you now see gender roles being twisted and saying that it is a social construct, meaning that it is subjective upon whoever is the person at hand, the thinker at hand. So yeah, these led up to having up to 70 plus genders having nowadays. I believe many liberals or leftists or atheists, I would say. So yeah, we're gonna be dealing a little bit with that, and but yeah. So due to these radical agendas being propagated to the younger generations in college campuses and public schools, we'll be pretty much exploring and refuting the underlying assumptions made by proponents of the non-binary gender ideologies. The one usually hears scientific cases for both sides of the aisle, although as with every scientific fact, it ought to be interpreted in from the uniformity of nature, but that have to stand to scrutiny when it comes to the laws of logic. So yes, we can test something scientifically through the uniformity of nature, but those scientific facts have to be necessarily interpreted through a philosophical analysis with the laws of logic. So, but yeah, as previously mentioned, so we must accept the laws of logic, the uniformity of nature, at least as axioms. I would argue that through our Christian perspective, we don't just take it as axioms, but as a given based on epistemic certainty, based on the existence of God. However, but even if you're an atheist and you're watching it, I guess you may now at least take it as axioms, so we can actually have a civil and fruitful discussion. So since relativism by default is self-refuting, leading to absurdity of due to lack of logical consistency, since you can pretty much make another belief to be true, and if I believe it's true and it contradicts yours and yours is true, then it's true and false at the same time, therefore it's self-contradicting. So there must be some underlying objective parameters from which we can analyze this topic. So I would say that it forcefully has to be an objective. You have to see it through an objective lens, which I would argue is only possible through the existence of God. However, we will leave the transcendental argument for another day. But yeah, we can start with this for now. So, okay. So we're first going to deal with the ontology. So ontology being the metaphysical study of the nature of being, which deals with either defining, describing, or pinpointing the underlying factors of an abstract object or idea, which, for example, could be used to describe the nature of being of a triangle. although we know it's non-physical, we can conclude that a four-sided shape cannot be a triangle due to the nature of being defined as a three-sided shape. So there's an underlying factor of how we can imagine this abstract object being having the qualities of a three-sided shape. So we know that by necessity, through the laws of logic, it cannot be a four-sided shape. And with defining the teleology, on the other hand, it deals with explaining the underlying purpose or of any phenomena, whether it is physical or non-physical, based on its definition, description, and necessary characteristics based on the ontology of the object, phenomena, or physical entity, or whatever that we have at hand. So, for example, one may explore the nature of a share. We can describe it as something that we can sit on, an object that you can sit on, and that's made for humans to rest, or for a being or an object to sit in there. So it has the teleology, has the purpose of having a human being sat on it. So one can pinpoint much of its specific characteristics as a share. There's no, it's very hard to pinpoint what a share is in the sense that there's shares with four legs, one leg, three legs, two legs, no legs. Maybe it's hanging, whatever. I don't know. And it may be a square, it may be a circle, it may be like many different things, but you know something is a share because of the teleology or the purpose of that abstract object, of how it relates to its innate purpose. So after having defined ontology and theology quite briefly, so now let's analyze the ontology of gender and the teleology of the physical description of both the male and female sexes, to draw a conclusion on the purpose of such parts and bodily functions. So pretty much the deniers of the biblical binary view will often claim that one cannot know there's only two sexes due to the existence of intersex or hermaphrodite humans having what they perceive to be ambiguous genitalia, or men having women-like features, or vice versa. So, however, this claim cannot stand to scrutiny as portrayed by the following thought experiment that I'll present. So, imagine that there was a dispute over the ontology of two vehicles, and let's use, for example, a semi-trailer truck and a car. So imagine that one person would that the other party would claim that there's no underlying ontological factors that make each vehicle be by necessity separated by category. So utilizing arguments such as claiming a car may also attach a tow bar, and the small U-Haul trailer to assimilate the description of a semi-trailer truck by arguing both have a trailer to haul, a body unit for power, which and a joint to unite both parties. With it will be kind of like in the semi truck, it will be the fifth wheel, and on the car it will be the what is it called? The tow bar attachment, the little ball where you can put the tow bar on it. So so you can claim that okay, they look the same, they kind of have the same relationship as the car with the tow bar and the U-Haul trailer as with the semi truck and the trailer. However, there's a big error that lies on simplifying definitions in order to make it match for both vehicles. In the same manner that if one defines a bucket as a enclosed plastic container with a hole on top, under that simplified definition, a bottle will be a bucket. You catch that? Did you catch that? So thus, by expanding the definition, including factors such as hole size in relation to body size, as a bottle will have a smaller hole and a bigger body, and a bucket a bigger hole and a slimmer body, kind of going this way. Um, we can conclude that thus, under these expanded definition, we can conclude that a bottle cannot logically be a bucket. So that the same thing with the U-Haul trailer and the car. Um, you cannot say they are the same thing once you expand on the definition. Once you increase the definition qualities, now making it about whether it is a diesel truck, whether it was made for the road, it was made of a bigger size, a smaller size, whether sleeper cab, whatever. So now whenever you expand to those definitions, now it doesn't leave room for a car to be a semi truck. In the same manner, so well, a car can get attached to a tow bar and a U-Haul trailer, but so yeah, if you put factors like driving on tight roads, which a trailer cannot turn, um, or having specified weight limits on bridges and roads, length limits, you can conclude that if that it entices the definition of a car, then it is logically impossible for a semi truck trailer to be considered a car. In the same manner, a male body, now moving into the topic of gender. Now a male body cannot be considered female because of the biological ontology of a male, and the same way that a male with missing limbs would now be ambiguous to know if the man is a human or a snake. A human born with a malformation in the form of ambiguous genitalia would not um, make the male concept irrelevant or non-existent. One would simply conclude that a male with a malformation against its manhood, against its genitalia, the same way that a car with a tow bar would still be a car with no ambiguity of it being a semi truck. That there wouldn't be a confusion on it just because it has an ambiguous part. In this case, the attachment for the tow bar, compared to the ambiguous genitalia that the LGBT agenda tries to put when it comes to the hermaphrodites or intersex people. So moving into teleology, so we differentiate a sports car from a school bus due to its parts, its shape, its capabilities, matching the purpose of the vehicle itself. So, like being a sports car requires the vehicle to be fast, aerodynamic, to be as light as possible without taking away power nor speed. So, being big, being way too big to have enough room, like in the roads, be heavy as a byproduct of safety design, overlooking speed, knowing it's not a priority, among other features. One would observe that we can pinpoint a purpose behind the design by contrasting and comparing to different vehicle designs out there. So the same way we know a line is crooked because of the existence of a straight line to compare it to. In the same manner, we can tell a vehicle that is made for speed when we compare it to a vehicle that is not made to be that it was not made for speed. So as it is known by science, males have characteristics such as higher bone density, higher myostatin levels, which allow for bigger amounts of muscle mass, which is myostatin is a how do you call it? it's like a regulator that lets you have bigger or smaller amounts of muscle depending on what your genes are based on this regulator of myostatin. But yeah, that's kind of what it does. So also males have a higher testosterone levels, which provide more strength and power output. So and such factors, among others, that led to a physically bigger build with different body proportions as a woman. So you would see different body proportions in the sense that women are going to have bigger hips, smaller waist, bigger chest area, and guys will have a bigger back, maybe lesser hips, maybe different places where they store body fat. So all the body proportions will be a little bit different. Women have a hairline that goes a little bit lower. Tend to have more males tend to be more hairy than women because of testosterone, and you got the jaw structure. Yeah, facial structure in general, Adam's apple. So you got a lot of factors that from which you can make an underlying um, case from what is a male and what is a woman. The same way that you cannot confuse a stop sign with a cone, because the cone will have a cylindrical pattern going like this way with a base in the bottom, while the a stop sign will be the pole itself with the hexagonal shape in the sign painted red with the letters that say stop. So you cannot confuse both, because there's ontological factors to the stop sign, and there's ontological factors when it comes to the cone itself. So if you try to describe okay, no, but this is not a cone, this is a stop sign. Okay, but describe me the stop sign then, and then you say, okay, it goes this way like this, and it has a base, it is cylindrical. Okay, so you're pretty much describing the underlying descriptors of a stop sign, but you're just calling it a cone. So just bringing up linguistical problems for the underlying factors, just calling it something different, doesn't change the ontology of each person. The same way that if a male has the ontology of a male, the physical characteristics of a male, of the male in the form of sex, it will be pretty odd to try to change the gender and just call it the gender women when we can correlate to the underlying factors of it being a male. So, when it comes to women, on the other hand, their DNA code leads them to have different body proportions, as we mentioned, and different hormonal levels, such as having higher estrogen to testosterone ratio. So they also have testosterone, but it'll be when it comes to ratio, estrogen will go higher than testosterone, and for males, testosterone higher than estrogen. But we both sexes, we have same hormones, just different levels for each. So women also have the ability to produce milk from their mammary glands, which naturally has a teleology or purpose of feeding and nurturing newborns. The low testosterone in women cause them to not be as aggressive as males. If you have noticed already, kids, males tend to be more liking more fighting, more dangerous stuff, more adventurous type of stuff, while females tend to like more passive activities. And this is not just in humans, but also experiments have been made with chimpanzees, with monkeys, and usually the female monkeys tend to like female-based toys, and male monkeys usually like male-based toys. So you see the same correlation between both of them. So, yeah, as mentioned, women tend to do less dangerous acts like fights, like some other life-threatening tasks. Like, usually you see more males being truck drivers, being welders, being more blue collar. You would call it blue collar um, type of jobs. So yeah, getting into fights, whatever. So um, you would see from males will have more physical and mental endurance in long-term stressful situations. Well, no, I'm sorry. If females will have more physical and mental endurance in longer term stressful situations, while males tend to exert a higher force output in short time frame scenarios due to more fast twitch muscle fiber ratio. So that'll be the equivalent of males being crybabies when put into stressful situations, doing a task for a longer period of times. That's kind of why you see males usually complaining more for long shifts and than females, and that's why you see males putting more weight on the squat rack than females. So they both have their important qualities that but they are complementary. But we're gonna get a little into that later on. So yeah, as we demonstrated by the previous examples, we observed that physical or descriptive qualities have underlying factors that determine the ontological and teleological enticements of such objectively and by necessity. So, although we ought to clarify that not because there's demonstrable differences between males and females, it does not mean that one is inferior to the other. That is kind of like a conclusion you see from the LGBT agenda, that if you try to argue that males and females are different, they pretty much jump to the conclusion that, okay, they're different, therefore you're supporting the patriarchy, that males are better than females or something like that. And they would say that that's why there's gender discrimination, whatever. But no, that's not what it entices. It would just entice um, whenever you have differences between males and females. In the biblical position, it would just entice that males and females work in a complementary relationship, as males are better for some things and females are better in some things. So you got both persons that are good at different stuff. The same way that a car and a school bus can work together for a person. Let's say a driver can use a car for going to his job, and his job being a school bus driver. So the school bus can help him with his job. So you have differences between a car and a school bus, but they both are useful and both are great in different circumstances. The same thing with males and females. Both have important strengths and weaknesses, which is why God decreed both genders to work together in a complementary relationship, filling the needs of the other. So, differences in bodily characteristics should never be used as an excuse for abuse or for degrading the other sex, as God created us all in His image, and both can equally be elected by God. So thus, both ought to work around their God-made teleological prescriptions, not for our selfish sake, but for the sake of keeping our godly principles and values, despite the massive growth of unbiblical agendas destroying the God-made family system in our country of a male and female and kids, which you cannot attain when you try to mess up with the binary reality of sex being correlated to gender. So that's how I would put this argument to rest. I would say there shouldn't be a comeback against the ontology of gender. So we appreciate yeah, if we kind of get rid of those agendas. But we're now going to go with some questions. We have some questions from a friend, Jaden Havener. If My friend Jaden, he's got a YouTube channel called Confident Faith. So check it out for him. Subscribe, like it. He's got some cool interviews and cool content out there. If you're into Christian topics, so you're gonna like his stuff also. So yeah, he's got a comment here. So he says, doesn't the LGBT ideology affirm substance dualism? It seems that this ideology grants the idea that personhood is not reducible to the physical makeup of brain chemistry. So what I think Jaden is saying right here is that a person well, it'll be about the philosophy of personhood, which the problem is, how do you define a person? So it would say that pretty much you cannot say, okay, a person is someone that has um, um, certain memories. Because if someone loses their memory, then that would not make them a human. So you couldn't say that a person, a person that pretty much lost his memories or is in a coma, that does. If you take that off, that wouldn't take the personhood out of the person in and of itself. If you try to say, okay, well, a person is a compilation of human cells, well, you cannot also say that that is a person, since a person, well, every single human recycles their own cells every certain amount of time. I don't know how many years, but your cells get replaced whenever a certain time passes through. So that wouldn't make a person a person. Also, you cannot say, well, a person is a human body with a head, a torso, two legs, and two arms. You cannot say that, because if a person has an accident and they cut their legs and they cut their arms, that wouldn't take a personhood out of that specific person. So that'll be a mistake on the philosophy of personhood. So that is how the problem is defined. Pretty much, you really struggle to pinpoint some ontological factors from which you can call a person a person. So in the Christian position, you will leave it more as a soul. A soul is a person. A soul is an individual. But it's quite a tough thing to answer. But so Jaden, when it comes to the LGBT ideology, affirming substance dualism, um, I don't know, man. Many are atheists, so many atheists don't affirm substance dualism. They would affirm that the mind correlates to the brain. So I would say it depends on the person itself. I wouldn't say. I would say it's a case by case scenario, man. I wouldn't know how they put it, but when it comes to gender dysphoria, you pretty much, the way the Christian perspective on how we would analyze it would be through the ontology of the person. And even though the person has a misbelief in its brain, it is not um, it is not proper to try to go against the ontology of your own body. So it is the duty of the person to match the thoughts to the ontology of the body, since you cannot do it the other way around. So you cannot change the ontology of your body to match your thoughts. You can try to do some surgeries, but a male genitalia is never going to turn into female genitalia, and vice versa. One can try, but it's not going to be the same thing. It's going to be a something faker, I would say. So yeah, that's how I would answer. And this is the channel of Jaden, so you can copy and paste it. It's in the comment section if you want to look at it. So that is the link, and feel free to click it. And also you can check out Jaden's channel, Confident Faith, on YouTube, and Confident Faith on Facebook. So thanks, Jaden, for your question. I think you got another question over here. So you're saying that what Jaden is trying to say is if you believe that gender is not reducible to brain chemistry or physical attributes, it will follow that personhood isn't reducible to the brain and body. Does that help? Let me see. Well, I would say, well, that's why we are talking about the ontology of gender. Just as we mentioned before, there's underlying factors for each abstract object. So even for a person, as persons, we are abstract objects in a sense. So there's an abstract underlying qualities that make up a person, in the sense that we could be a soul along with the physical body that we possess right now. So there's those ontological attributes, but the ontological attributes that differentiate a male and female. So I guess I would define more as a belief system, trying to match a social construct. I would say that's the way that they try to put it with their gender ideology. I wouldn't say they necessarily try to make it reducible to brain chemistry or physical attributes. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm responding your question as you're asking it, but yeah, hopefully I did. I'm not so very sure, but yeah, I would say that's my answer, man. But yeah, Jaden, thank you for commenting, man, and good questions that you're asking. Hopefully I did. I guess I'll ask you after that. But yeah, we don't have that more comments, but yeah, you can, if you're gonna watch this video on YouTube. So yeah, I guess I would appreciate if you leave us a like, if you comment, and if you share. I would really appreciate that, and you will help us a lot if you subscribe. We're going to be doing debates. We're going to be doing calling shows. We're going to be going into atheist pages and debunking memes. We're going to be doing a lot of cool stuff. So subscribe if you see this on YouTube, and also like our page if you're seeing it in Facebook, and just like all of our social media. And thank you guys for watching. And I am Israel Trujillo. It was a pleasure to be here with you guys. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you guys in the next time. So yeah, thank you guys. Peace.